The following is a presentation of TFNN. Time to talk about your health. Living a primal lifestyle.
You know, we have Tom from Tampa on the phone. Hey, Tom. Good morning. It's bright and early now, huh?
Hey, Paige. Good. How you guys doing, Nico?
Doing great.
Good. Hey, your newsletter's outstanding, man. I'm telling you, man, it is outstanding. And so is the Primal Edge. I love that stuff. I'd never be without it. I mean, I've been on it now 3-4 months, man. I mean, it's just, I can't get over how good I feel.
Primal Edge is, people are raving about it. People who are trying it, they know because you can feel it.
Would not be without it.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Now your hosts, Nico de Haan and Paige Clarke.
Good morning, I'm Nico de Haan, and welcome to Living a Primal Lifestyle, where we explore a return to a more balanced and natural wild world to recover our natural health and regain our rights and freedoms. And it's a beautiful morning in downtown St. Petersburg, 61 degrees, cleared skies. It was wonderful. Glad to be back here. And I'd like to remind you to please pick up our Primal Edge, our one-shot wonder, over 310 organic cell-ready liquid ingredients. This is all powered by fulvic and humic acids, which are Mother Nature's preferred delivery system, essential for your natural health and wellness. Recommend this highly to start you off on the new year, which is coming up really soon. And also, please pick up our Health Signals newsletter. It's only $10 a month, folks. You get 2 issues on the 1st and the 15th of every month. And of course, on the 15th of last month, or of this month, we're talking about too much screen time for your development. But there's a lot more in there, all about what we talked about the past 2 weeks. Now, Paige isn't here. She's still on vacation, but she should be back next Tuesday. So look forward to seeing her and hearing all about her vacation. I had a great vacation myself. My wife and I drove up to, first to Tallahassee, see my brother-in-law. From there, we went on to Michigan to see the kids, the grandkids, and the great-grandkids. Was great. Found out I have expecting another great-grandchild. So that'll be number 6, I think. Hard to keep track of this whole thing, but yeah, I think we have all 6 already, so it'll be 7. 5 grandchildren, 3 children, 5 grandchildren, 6 great-grandchildren with a 7th one on the way. How about that? Really good to see the children, the grandchildren, everybody they're all doing really good. And we got in on Sunday and just kind of chilled at the hotel. My son and his wife came by for a while. Then later on that night, we took them out with their daughter to a nice restaurant in Birmingham. Then the next day, we went to see one of our granddaughters, Stevie, and then the other day, we went to see, I think, one of our other grandchildren. I forget which one. We have so many. It's really something. But we really had a nice time, you know, bonding with them again and seeing how the young ones have really grown. And it's really something. It's much easier with grandchildren, everybody says, because, of course, you can leave them behind. You're not stuck with them all day. But they're growing up great, and it was really a good chance just to get out of town for a little while. And we kind of hightailed it back, though, on the way back. It's about a 19-hour drive, I guess. It took us a 19.5 hour. We had a little bit of trouble on the way with some traffic. But all in all, we had a really nice trip, and the truck behaved wonderfully. And, of course, we were between the snowstorms. I guess they're going to have snow again in the next few days. But it was all clear up there in the 60s. The first day, it was pretty cold, like 30 degrees, 32 degrees. And then the next day it was cold, and then all of a sudden it warmed up, and it's been really nice ever since. And yesterday was over 70 degrees here in Florida. So glad to be back, though, and I'm looking forward to Paige coming back and starting a whole new year of living a primal lifestyle again. It seems like we learned a lot this year, especially from some of the things like that book, Lifespan, with one of the doctors we were talking about. I forget his name all of a sudden, but it just slipped my mind. But we were learning a lot more about different things, and so it's surprising to me that this first article I'm talking about here is more than 1 in 3 Americans still eat fast food on a typical day, and we kind of eat it all day long. If you're an adult in America, there's better than 1 in 3 chance that you'll eat fast food today if you haven't already. A new survey data from the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention show that 36.6 of us eat some kind of fast food on any given day, and that includes 37.9% of men and 35% of women, according to a report published in the CDC's National Centers for Health Statistics. Now, fast food is on the menu all day long. On a typical day, 22.7 Americans get their breakfast from fast food. At lunchtime, it's 43.7 Americans pick up a quick meal, and 42% do the same for dinner. So it seems like dinner and lunchtime are the most. 22.8 get a snack from a fast food joint. Nearly half of American men, 48.3, eat fast food for lunch on any given day, and that's significantly more than 39.1 of women who do the same. On the other hand, 1 in 4 women treat themselves to fast food snack on a typical day compared to 1 in 5 men. So the conventional wisdom is that fast food is that people eat it when they can't afford something better to the lack of money or a lack of time. But the report shows that that's not necessarily true. And here's a little graph for you showing that lower income is 31.7, middle income is 36.4, and higher income is 42. So lower income is less than equal or 130% of federal poverty level. Middle income is greater than 130% less than or equal to 350% of the federal poverty level. And higher income is 350% of the federal poverty level, which they don't tell you what that is, though. In fact, the more money someone has, the more likely he is to partake in fast food on any given day. Now, that's really strange, isn't it? Among those whose family income was less than equal to 130% of the poverty line, which is set at $11,770 for a single person, or just short of $25,000 for a family of 4 in 2016. 31.7 ate fast food on a typical day. Among middle-income families whose income is between 130 and 350 of the poverty line, 36.4 ate fast food on a typical day. A lot of people are eating fast food. This makes you wonder whether fast food, including takeout sushi, Starbucks, Frappuccinos, and organic berries from the farmer's market, the definition of the survey was vague. Okay, so here they're talking that the system that they're using is not that great. Restaurant fast food and pizza, it's certainly possible that some people interpret this to mean something other than burgers, fried chicken, or sub sandwiches. So they include sushi, takeout sushi. Well, I guess it could be, but typically sushi I wouldn't consider fast food, but it may be in some instances. This data shows that popularity of fast food varies by racial and ethnic group. The biggest fans are African Americans, who eat 42% on a typical day. Least enticing is Asian Americans, though over 30% of them ate it on a typical day as well. And in between were whites at 37.8 and Latinos at 36.5, who eat the least. By now you might be wondering what it would take for Americans to dial back their addiction to fast food. Our taste for fast foods seems to diminish with age. Peak fast food consumption occurs in our 20s and 30s. 44.9% of the survey takers in this age group ate fast food on a typical day. In the middle age, the figure drops to 37%, and after turning 60, you only do it 24.1%. So maybe you get a little wiser as you get older. I don't know. We'll be right back, folks, so stick around. Please pick up our Primal Edge and, of course, our Health Signals newsletter during the break, and we'll be right back. You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartleys, ABCs, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com. Will the S&P 500 continue to climb? For bold trades on U.S. large-cap stocks in either direction, trade SPXL, SPUU, or SPXS. Directions Daily S&P 500 Bull and Bear Leveraged ETFs. Direction Leveraged ETFs. An investor should carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risks, charges, and expenses before investing. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a fund's prospectus and summary prospectus, call 866-476-7523 or visit directioninvestments.com. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
And welcome back to the show. I'd like to remind you, please pick up our Primal Edge, our one-shot wonder. You know, during the holidays when the stress is high, coming into the new year, this is a good time to start taking the Primal Edge. It's $89 to your door every month, and you're ensured that you get over 310 organic cell-ready liquid ingredients. And these ingredients are very easy to take. They're all powered by fulvic and humic acid, which means that you get the good stuff in and you detox the bad stuff. A great way to start the year, so please do that. And of course, remind you also to pick up the Health Signals newsletter, which follows the show. And I've got a new one coming out tomorrow. Probably hit your email on Thursday, and talking about all the things that we talked about during this show here. So I'd like to talk now about eating through a 10-hour window to improve your health. And this is something that's been in the news. And, of course, the book I'm reading right now, Lifespan, by Dr. David Sinclair, just remembered his name, talks about this type of thing, that if you shrink the time that you eat and extend the time that you don't eat, it kicks in what they call the longevity gene. Of course, there are other things that also kick it in. What I'm learning, of course, is that hot and cold extremes do this. Taking a cold plunge or getting in a hot tub or taking a sauna does the same thing, and not only detoxes you, but kind of resets the clock a little bit for you. Restrictive eating is another way. Of course, getting out of breath is the other way. Not just normal exercise, but the point where you get out of breath for about 5 or 10 minutes each time you do this. And you only have to do this a few times a week, and you're all set. So it's not a lot, but it kind of follows what we've been talking about, that ancient humans. Of course, ancient humans out in the wilds, probably not eating quite as regularly as the 3 meals that we eat here with all the snacks in between. Probably ate once a day, maybe twice a day. Extreme hot and cold, always subjective to it. There's no hot water there, so if you're going to clean yourself, you're going to be in cold water unless you're in the tropics. Extreme heats, of course, all around the world, we have all these bubbling pools of water and mud and things like that. We gravitate to these things. We instinctively know that these things are good for us. And also, eating during a short window is really good for us. So what if a clock did a better job than a scale at promoting weight loss, improved sleep, and preventing diabetes? And new research suggests it's time to consider that possibility. In an early effort to explore the benefits of daily fasting in humans, researchers have found that people who are at high risk of developing diabetes improve their health in many ways when they ate all of their meals over a span of just 10 hours and then fasted for the remaining 24-hour day. This regime is called time-restrictive eating, is a variant of intermittent fasting, which is a practice growing in popularity. To lose weight or improve health, those fasting intermittently don't eat or follow a Spartan diet that mimics fasting for a day or more, sometimes a day or more every week or every month. Time-restricted eating, by contrast, limits a person to consuming all of his daily calories in a relatively narrow window, say from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Practiced daily, time-restricted eating widens the period during which the body's major visceral organs are put in a state of rest and recovery. And that's really what we're after here, is that we want the body not to be digesting food all the time. It seems that we found out that our body can either grow or repair, but it can't do both. And it also doesn't do it while we're digesting food. So the body kind of just waiting for everything to stop. And if you're continuously eating, then that stopping never happens. And then, of course, your body doesn't switch over to these really healthy things that take place. So for the new research, Panda, which was one of the researchers here, and his colleagues measured what happened when 19 people were asked to do all their eating during a 10-hour window every day for 12 weeks. The participants were allowed to choose their own 10-hour window, which could vary slightly. All the studies, subjects had a condition known as metabolic syndrome, which is called pre-diabetes. Metabolic syndrome makes a person 5 times more likely to develop type 2 diabetes, and it doubles his or her risk of developing cardiovascular disease within 5 years. The condition is diagnosed when a patient tests positive to 3 or more of the following conditions: obesity, high blood pressure, problematic cholesterol, improved metabolic function, and excessive weight circumference, an indication of the abdominal fat. So 3 in 10 Americans are thought to have this condition. To ward it off, doctors have little to offer beyond exercising more, eating less, and losing weight. But patients often ignore or abandon that medical advice and go on to develop the full-blown type 2 diabetes. So in a pilot study, the participants limit their eating day to fewer than 10 hours for 12 weeks. They reduced their calorie intake by almost 9%, lost an average of 3% of their body fat, and reported more restful sleep. All improvements that could aid in disrupting a patient's progression from metabolic syndrome to diabetes. Now, as a group, the participants reduced their belly fat by about 3%. The group's blood pressure, typically high in those pre-diabetes, they all fell. The cholesterol readings, typically worrisome in this population, improved. And in the 12 participants whose metabolic function had already veered into the abnormal territory, 3 months of time-restricted eating appeared to bring about improvements in 2 key health measures: fasting glucose and the hemoglobin A1C. I'm not sure what that is. Let's see what, they don't say either. These changes come about with any increase in the participants' without the increase in physical activity. So, and improvements didn't rise or fall with the changes in weight. Time-restricted eating did induce weight loss, which typically improves many bodily functions. It appears to affect key changes in direct ways rather than just helping people slim down. In several cases, participants were able to discontinue or to take smaller doses of their medications, such as the statins or the hypertension drugs. In other instances, research saw that their shortened eating day and observing long nightly fasts helped patients who were not significantly helped by the medication alone. So it actually helped better than the medication, it says here. None of these promising findings are definitive, of course not, but a larger clinical trial meets the gold standard, is already in work, so they're doing more studies because they're finding that this is pretty good. All 19 subjects, 3 women and 16 men, were able to maintain a regular habit of fasting between 13 and 14 hours a day for about 6 days a week. Now, this is not a large portion. I've seen when Dr. Clarke talks about it, he talks about just having lunch and just having dinner and eating in a 4 or 5 hour window instead of this 10-hour window. So I think if you increase this window, it seems like the benefits are a lot more. And that's what I've been trying to do too. I'm still eating breakfast and I'm not having any lunch, but we are eating earlier, usually around 4 o'clock. So if I'm eating at 5 or 6 a.m. and then eating at 4 o'clock again, that's a little bit less. That's about an 8-hour window. But I'd like to, I think I'm going to start experimenting probably at the first of the year, which is tomorrow. Well, probably not tomorrow, but maybe the day after that. I'll start maybe extending that out a bit, and I think that's going to help me. So we'll see what happens. So it's interesting studies. We'll be right back, folks.
Would like to tell you about the personal training studio that Nico is the owner and president of, Performance Training. Since 1998, Nico has trained individuals and groups to improve their health both mentally and physically. As a certified personal trainer, Nico's main focus is on demonstrating exercises correctly to avoid injury and teaching his clients how to manage their past injuries while getting the most out of their personal training sessions. The Performance Training Studio is filled with unique training equipment that enhances balanced results at a faster rate while minimizing damage and discomfort. For more information, you can give Nico a call at 727-418-8740 or email him at nico@tfnn.com. Let him know you heard him on TFNN and save up to $100 on a special package just for TFNN listeners. Act today. If you're not currently using the TAS Profile Scanner when looking at setting up your trading opportunities, then your arsenal is short a mighty weapon. The TAS Profile Scanner is a standalone piece of software that instantly filters over 2,500 global financial markets such as stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, and Forex. Headed by Steve Dahl, TAS understands that in today's technological world, the use of top-flight software applications and technical analysis expertise is essential to successful trading in today's market. You also gain access to the webinar that Steve Dahl and Tom O'Brien just hosted, The Best Way to Use the TAS Profile Scanner to Profit. This webinar archive is available for all subscribers immediately upon signing up. All new subscriptions also come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. Start your subscription by visiting the front page of TFNN.com today, and you'll find the TAS Profile Scanner under the Services tab. Sign up today. Are you in the market for buying or selling real estate in the Bay Area, including the surrounding St. Petersburg, Tampa, and Clearwater markets? Tiger Real Estate LLC is a firm that has extensive experience in the Tampa Bay area. Whether you're looking to sell your current property for maximum value, or you're in the market for a second home or investment property, Tiger Realty has the experience across all areas of real estate in the Tampa Bay area to help buyers and sellers make the most informed decisions across all price levels. From the price you should be paying per square foot in certain up-and-coming areas to the type of cash flow investment properties are capable of creating, Tiger Real Estate can help you make the best decision when it comes to all areas of the market. Before you make one of the biggest decisions of your financial future, call Tiger Real Estate LLC today at 727-329-8322 or email us at tiger@tfnn.com. That's 727-329-8322. Call us today.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And welcome back to the show. And I got another article here, The Science-Backed Guide to Intermittent Fasting, the 2019's most popular diet. So some intermittent faster opting to stop eating around 8 p.m., skip breakfast, and eat lunch around 1 p.m. During fasting periods, people drink black coffee or tea as well as water to starve off the hunger pains. Others choose more regimented eating patterns like the 5 to 2, where people fast 2 days a week, or a more extreme approach is the 1 meal a day diet, where people squeeze all their daily caloric intake into one single meal. So this is what Dr. David Sinclair talks about. He says going hungry is one of those other things. And the longer that we're hungry, the more this gene is kicked on. So if we can do this, it's going to impact our health greatly. During exercise, there's stress on cells. They don't grow and get stronger and bigger during exercises, but during the resting period. So we think that intermittent fasting, during the fasting period, the cells go into kind of a stress-resistant mode. And then when you eat, they're preparing the cells to quickly take up the nutrients, proteins, and then grow. When we eat, our body releases insulin to help the cells convert glucose from food into energy. If glucose isn't immediately available, insulin helps store the excess in the fat cells. But when we abstain from food over extended periods of time, more than 16 hours, insulin isn't released, prompting the body to break down fat cells for energy. That in turn leads to the weight loss. So what you're doing is kickstarting your engine kind of, and not kickstarting the insulin, because insulin actually is kind of a little monitor in there. You know, when the food goes in your stomach, our body releases certain hormones. They release the acid, of course, to kind of test to see how much we need. So by releasing that acid, it's telling the body, do I need more acid? Do we need not? Also, a little insulin is released on a normal basis. But if you haven't eaten for a long time, that insulin doesn't get released right away. So, and that's a good thing, because that helps your body into that repair mode all the time. Giving your body a break from the flooded with insulin might be beneficial. Physician Monique Tello told Inverse that constantly flooding your system with insulin has dire health consequences. Your blood sugars are constantly high. Your insulin levels are constantly high. You get type 2 diabetes, which is a huge epidemic. These high blood pressure sugars can cause damage to the insides of your arteries. The kidneys are getting clogged up. People go into dialysis. It's a disaster. So this is where that term glycation comes in. When the insulin and the glucose is mixed with the protein, which is the food, then it causes the scarring in your arteries by the glycation. Now, long-lasting benefits might be ahead here. Some studies suggest intermittent fasting helps reduce inflammation, stabilizes your blood sugar, protects the brain through aging, and even extends life. A century of laboratory research links the practice with the prevention of age-related diseases, including tumors, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and dementia. However, much of the research is conducted in animal models, so the evidence that intermittent fasting holds miracle health benefits for humans is kind of thin, he says. How the eating pattern affects people with diabetes, the elderly, adolescents, or people with compromised immune system hasn't been determined yet. Experts caution that anyone with a history of disorder eating should also be wary of this type of diet, as it requires ignoring hunger cues that could lead unhealthy approaches to food. There's one of the authors here, Evelyn, says, I have a problem when somebody's actually feeling biological hunger, and going to disregard that. I think that's problematic, especially with someone who has a dieting history or an eating disorder. They're more likely to get engaged in binge eating and emotional eating, so it can actually maybe cause more problems than not if you're not used to this, and maybe you should enter into this slowly, and maybe you should talk to your doctor first, maybe a doctor who's open to this type of thing. How you eat it is a personal choice, but if you want to live longer instead of a hospital, the author here suggests that on the strength of the evidence, adopting a plant-based diet or a Mediterranean diet may be the healthiest option instead. So here we have, at the end of this article, a push to eating plants. And another interesting thing that I was reading in the book with Dr. Sinclair, and he also has been an advocate for eating plants. He says plants have a lot of things in them, defensive things in the plants, that if we're eating them on a smaller level, it triggers the same things as the extreme heat, the extreme cold, being out of breath, or not eating at all, because these things kind of just maybe there's a kind of drug inside the plant that maybe is defensive, so other animals won't eat it. So if we eat it, we get a little bit of this, and it turns our body into a healing mode, maybe, similar to not eating and similar to the extreme heat, that type of thing. It senses that there's something there, and all of a sudden now it's, but if you eat it on a regular basis, and this got me to thinking that we're talking really about wild plants, because we know the wild plants have more of these anti-nutrients and things in them. We've domesticated the plants, and the plants that we're eating, maybe these 16 or 18 vegetables, however many there are, have been so domesticated that we're really not getting that signal, that danger signal from the plant saying, don't eat me. And that signal turns out maybe that's good for us if we eat it as an herb, as, you know, not eating it all the time, because that would put too much in there. It's just my own thought on the whole thing, especially since I've been eating a carnivore diet. That gets me to thinking in that mode here. So I think these herbs and these spices all come from plants, and they're really good for us, and we use them to flavor our meats. And when we flavor our meats with them, maybe this turns on this longevity gene, because it does have those wild things in them that are the defensive parts of plants. They don't want to be eaten. Some studies suggest intermittent fasting may help reduce inflammation, stabilize blood sugar, protect the brain through aging, and even extend life. A century of laboratory research links the practice with the prevention of age-related disease, including tumors, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and dementia. However, much of the research was conducted in animal models, so the evidence that intermittent fasting holds miracle health benefits is thin. How your eating how eating patterns affect people with diabetes and all the things with compromised immune system really hasn't been determined yet. So we really need to be careful with these things. If you're already compromised, then trying some of these things may compromise you more. There's kind of saying that here. Interesting stuff, huh? I've got a couple more things here. I think we're going on a break here, so we're going to do that. And while you're on a break, I'd like to remind you two things. First of all, please pick up our Primal Edge, or One-Shot Wonder. This is something that Paige and I were very diligent about working on to get it into it, and we've had it for a few years now. And it's really one of the best things I think you can take early in the morning. And now with Dr. Sinclair's advice, I'm actually dropping one day, so I take it 6 days a week. Good thing to do, folks. I'll be right back. You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
If you're a trader in the market looking for exposure to gold or gold mining equities, then now is a perfect time to sign up for Tom O'Brien's Gold Report. The summer is over, gold is trading back above $1,500, and the 10-year Treasury is hovering at around 1.5%. Tom O'Brien has been writing his weekly gold report for almost 18 years. There's no one that knows more about how the gold market trades and how gold mining equities react. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. Every Monday morning, Tom TFNN.com publishes his weekly gold report with coverage of gold, silver, bonds, the XAU, HUI, GDX, the dollar, as well as more than 30 different mining equities. As of September 3rd, Gold Report subscribers have 5 active open positions with an average unrealized profit of almost 38% for each position. To see for yourself the types of profitable trades that are recommended within the Gold Report, sign up today by visiting TFNN.com. David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
Welcome back. I've got this article here, The Incredible Link Between Nature and Your Emotions, from Outside Magazine by Aaron Rubin. 35 years ago, a young researcher at the University of Delaware conducted a remarkable study. Having spent his childhood sick with kidney disease in and out of a gloomy and brutal hospital, Robert Ehrlich was interested in finding ways to improve the environments where patients are treated. So he sought to test the potential influence of an old friend that had brought him comfort as a child, a solitary pine tree that he could view through the window of his sickbed. He said, "I think seeing that tree helped my emotional state," he recalled in an interview decades later. So that small study would give birth to thousands of replicants and expansions, an entire movement in architecture. Ehrlich managed to find a hospital ward where, for years, patients had recovered from gallbladder surgery in identical rooms that overlooked either a small stand of deciduous trees or a brick wall. After poring through nearly 10 years' worth of ward records, Ehrlich found that patients with a view of the tree fared far better than the miserable patients with nothing but a wall to look at, even if their cases were identical. Those with the view took fewer painkillers, were rated by nurses as being better in spirits on the average, and they left the hospital nearly a day earlier than those without a view. So what's going on? We've learned a lot about nature and the brain since then, and after Ehrlich's foundational work, more than 100 studies have investigated the potential mental health benefits of exposure to natural stimuli. From these studies, many of them small, observational, and imperfect, we believe that the non-threatening nature stimuli, as opposed to, say, a lightning strike, could play a profound role in the regulation of the involuntary nervous system, how your body looks at things naturally. Natural settings are favorable to ongoing well-being or survival. They appear to signal our brain that it's time to take a breather, allowing us to turn down our flight system, restore our resources, and approach things that are good for us, like finding food or socializing. Specifically, we have learned that nature tends to result in reducing circulating levels of the stress hormone adrenaline and cortisol, and the inflammatory markers immunoglobulin A. It is also associated with lowering blood pressure, improved affect, the short emotional experience, blunted perceived stress after the stressful life events, and lower short-term level of anxiety and depression. So what they're saying is really that the effect is short-term and long-term. We also appear to ruminate less after we're spending time in nature. To ruminate would remind me of a cow eating in the pasture, constantly eating, so you're not going to be snacking as much. And this is something that I find You know, when I go into nature, it always is something good. When I was going to University of Michigan, one thing right near the university, right downtown, is called an arboretum. And it's a huge area of expansive trees and water, a river runs through it and everything. And that's something that you could just, you walk out the door and you take a few steps and you're in the arb, and all of a sudden everything seems to be all right. So all these little walks that my parents always took along the beach and in nature, going into the forest, how that affects me, these things all have a real positive effects on us, and it's something that we should seek out. And I think we intrinsically and we automatically do these things if we're in good health, because it keeps us in good health. Going for a walk in the neighborhood where the trees are, going walk in a park, taking vacations, things like that, really important. Let's see. Imagine that the day you were born, you were assigned a personal code, much like a Social Security number. You used this code whenever you enroll in school, visited your doctor, filled a prescription, paid your taxes, got married, got divorced. But unlike a Social Security number, this code tracked your every move. Inscribed in a massive system of interlocking data registers could tell a researcher almost anything they wanted to know about your life. Such a personal identification system is the norm in Nordic countries, where the government provides a wide net of services for its citizens and consequently monitors their health needs and use of public services. This year, researchers in Denmark used the system to generate the largest and most comprehensive observable study of mental health and environment yet undertaken. 1 million young adults, or everyone born in Denmark from 1985 to 2003 and still living there by their 10th birthday. Now, the research team combined long-term data on a mental disorder diagnosis from the Danish Psychiatric Central Research Register. And they asked if children raised in homes surrounded by more nature, specifically green vegetation, experience better mental health as they grew into adolescent and young adults. And the researchers considered 16 distinct mental disorders, from schizophrenia and depression, anorexia, and other personal disorders. Based on prior evidence, they had reason to expect that the rates of depression or anxiety might be lower among children raised in greener neighborhoods. As they reported in the proceedings, they found, to their surprise, that children from greener neighborhoods were less likely to develop any or nearly any diagnosable mental illness. Because those areas tend to be wealthier, the authors adjusted their findings for levels of family and neighborhood affluence using the rich personal data available under lock and key. So they found that the link remained significant for 14 out of 16 exam disorders. So after they kind of adjusted everything, they still found that this is a huge thing. But there was a general association that being surrounded by higher levels of green space in childhood was associated with a lower risk of disease. This was not a localized phenomenon. This was regardless, they say, where the children, the Danish children live or how nice their neighborhoods were. It was the green space that was important. All told, children raised in the least green neighborhoods were 55% more likely to develop a mental illness than their peers who grew up in the greenest neighborhoods, regardless of the social standing, the area's level of affluence, or their parental history of mental illness. So, of course, they say correlation does not does not prove causation. That's where a second study came in, this time observing differences among people exposed to different levels of greenery by actually manipulating the environment on a city scale. So this one found the same thing. He said they selected, well, they can go through the whole thing, how they did this, but it's not a big thing. What they said was that around green area lots, neighborhood level rates of feeling depressed dropped by 42%, feeling worthless dropped by 51%, and having generally poor mental health dropped by 61%. It's a really big finding. This is the first study to show that changing environment prospectively can change the way people feel and improve their mental health. For now, these recent studies provide suggestive but compelling evidence that nature's long-lasting effects on our mental health is a positive one. But one mystery still remains: just how precisely does it calm us down? Yeah, well, maybe it's the great air and the plants just breathing. Yeah, who knows? It's good for us, though. We know that for sure. Stick around, folks. I got a little bit more. I'll be right back.
I'm certain you are or strive to be one of the best at everything you do in life. It's the most common trait that we tigers and tigresses share. If you're looking to become the best of the best when it comes to managing your money, let me teach you to do what most wealth managers tell you can't be done, which is how to time the markets. I'm Steve Rhodes, author of Mastering Probability, and for the last 12 months, Timer Digest has been tracking my newsletter signals, which have earned me the ranking as their #1 market timer in the nation for the S&P 500 for the last 12, 6, and 3 months. Timer Digest also ranks me as the #1 market timer for gold as well. The fact is, markets can be timed, and I'll teach you the exact set of tools that I use that has transformed me into one of the best at what I do. Sign up for Mastering Probability today by clicking on the newsletter tab on the homepage of TFNN.com and get immediate access to workshops where I take you step by step how to use an extraordinary set of tools, as well as provide great market calls too. Sign up today.
Hi folks, Tom O'Brien here. If you'd like to get my daily newsletter, Market Insights, then now is a great time to sign up for a 30-day free trial. Every morning by 9:30, I send out my morning letter to subscribers with market commentary on a variety of markets, currencies, and commodities to keep investors up to date on the day's trading action. Included in Market Insights are specific buy and sell recommendations for stocks, ETFs, and even options, with stops and price targets included for every trade in my newsletter. If you'd like to try my newsletter risk-free for 30 days, then head over to the front page of TFNN and you'll find Market Insight under Trading Newsletters. I use my years of trading experience to bisect and dissect the market every morning and give my subscribers the most important information they need to know for the day ahead. I even issue afternoon updates for my subscribers whenever warranted with important market action. I'm always scouring the market for the next great trading opportunity. Sign up for your 30-day free trial to my daily newsletter, Market Insights, today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Wow! Go get them, folks.
TFNN has put together the best lineup of live content for traders by traders every market day, featuring some of the most knowledgeable and respected minds in the business. TFNN broadcasts 5 days a week live from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. Eastern Time. We have live programming every market day during market hours. Every morning, Larry Pesavento kicks off the trading day live at 9 a.m. and breaks down the opening bell with Trade What You See. At 10 a.m., Tom and Tommy O'Brien host the TFNN Bull Bear Trading Hour, followed at 11 a.m. by the team at TD Ameritrade and Thinkorswim with Fast Market. Basil Chapman hosts the Tiger Technicians Hour at noon, Steve Rhodes at 1 p.m. with the Trader's Edge, Dave White at 2 p.m. with the Power Trading Hour, and Tom O'Brien anchors the daily lineup from 3 till 5 as host of the Tom O'Brien Show. Tune in to TFNN's Tiger TV on your computer or mobile device, and you can always find us streaming on YouTube. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Welcome back, folks. This last article here is the brain senses touch beyond the body. And this is interesting, of course. Luke Miller, a cognitive neuroscientist, was toying with a curtain rod in his apartment when he was struck by a strange realization. When he hit an object with the rod, even without looking, he could tell where it was making contact with it. He could tell where it was making contact with it was like a sensory extension of the body. That's kind of weird, he said, so I went around and played around with it. Sensing touch through tools is not a new concept, though it's been extensively investigated. In the 17th century, philosopher René Descartes discussed the ability of blind people to sense their surroundings through their cane, their walking cane. While scientists have researched the tool extensively, they typically focused on how people moved the tools for their part, and they neglected the sensory aspect of the tool. But in Nature, Miller and his colleagues at the university in France reported that humans are actually quite good at pinpointing where an object comes into contact with a handheld toy using touch alone, as if the objects were touching their own skin. A tool is not a infrared, not well, not like our skin, it says here. So how does our brain know? Results in the follow-up studies. The tool is being treated like a sensory extension of the body. In initial experiments, the researchers asked 16 right-handed subjects to determine where they felt touches on a 1 meter long wooden rod. In total of 400 trials, each subject compared the locations of the 2 touches made on the rod and the felt like in different locations. Participants did not respond. If they were in the same location, the people in the study tapped a foot pedal to indicate the touches were so close or far from the body. So this kind of has been known, and I think we've even talked about like our aura touching things. You know, there's a lot of things going on that we really don't need, that we really don't know about. It's a this is a beautiful, comprehensive, and thoughtful work, and it shows that how little we do know. But there's kind of a neat way of sensing things. So take it for what it's worth, folks. Thanks for sticking around. Hope you have a happy new year, and I'll see you next year. Bye-bye.